So today we're going to be looking at who are the 5 worst starting QBs heading into the 2026 NFL season. Now, I originally was going to wait until preseason was over to make this video, but instead I decided just to do it now because almost every QB one is already determined on each team except for the Browns. So now that doesn't mean that all these QBs I have are my predictions of how they're going to do. I'm just doing who are the 5 worst QBs heading to this season right now. I'm not saying they're going to do bad this year because some of these guys might even get benched. Who knows? But I'm just saying that these are the 5 worst QBs. Like I said, ranked the bottom 5. I'm not saying they're going to do bad because if someone does good, then I will be okay, then I guess they proved me wrong or something. So here are the 5 worst starting QBs heading into the 2026 season. So for my number 5, I got Cam Ward. It was between Cam Ward and Malik Willis for me to decide. And I decided going with Cam Ward because Malik Willis, the times he played last year, and not even just last year, but in 2024 when Jordan Love got hurt, Malik Willis was actually a pretty solid backup QB, and he actually looked pretty decent. That's why I didn't put Malik Willis, and I instead put Cam Ward at the number 5 spot. I almost put him a bit higher, but I decided to keep him at 5 because I feel like last year was just a rookie year, so I feel like it's kind of unfair to put him that high on this list. So Cam Ward last year only had over 3,100 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 7 picks, only completed 59.8% of his passes. But Cam Ward at the same time last year didn't have a lot of weapons. He was sacked 55 times. The only guy he really had on the offense was Tony Pollard and I guess Calvin Ridley, who's getting older, and last year he missed games. But this year they drafted a guy like Carnell Tate. They bring in Wan'Dale Robinson. We'll see how that offense looks. I think he could play a lot better, but right now I haven't the number 5 spot. But I won't be surprised if he actually plays better because he does have weapons this year like Carnell Tate, Wan'Dale Robinson, and he still has Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley still on the team. So we'll see if he can improve this year. So for my number 4, I got Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Tua last year was obviously his final season with the Dolphins, and it was not great at all. Over 2,600 yards passing, 20 passing TDs, and 15 picks. He did have a solid completion percentage with a 67.7, but he only averaged 6.9 yards per attempt. And Tua just wasn't that great for the Dolphins the past 2 seasons. He did have that one good year where he actually played a full season for once in 2023, but he had a solid year in 2022. His rookie year was okay, but he hasn't really been great. And a lot of people say he can't do it without Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And last year, Tyreek Hill was out for the majority of the season. He really had Jalen Waddle, and he just didn't look good at all. Now, he does have the weapons for the Falcons like Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, so he could do solid, but I just don't think so. He already didn't look good at all in the preseason game. I just think he's likely going to get benched for Michael Penix Jr. whenever he comes back from injury. But yeah, I think Tua definitely is one of the bottom 5 of the worst starting QBs in the NFL. For my number 3, I got Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson. I put both in because I don't know who's starting right now. Deshaun Watson's leading the QB competition because of how he looked in preseason. But either way, both I don't think are going to do good this year. Even if Deshaun Watson likely going to start, I think he'll likely get benched for Shedeur Sanders unless he can return to his Houston Texans form, which is very unlikely. And Shedeur Sanders, I know he was a rookie last year, but he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't the greatest either because he threw more interceptions than touchdown with 7 TDs and 10 picks. He also had a 56.6% completion, which is not that good, and a 66.6 yard per attempt, which is not good either. Now, I think he could be better than he is next year because he had some nice throws like you saw against the Titans game where he looked solid. So there are times where last year, even though he may not look good statistically, there are times where he actually made plays that looked solid. So it's likely going to be Deshaun Watson will get benched for Shedeur if Deshaun Watson ends up being the QB1 for week 1, or it's likely that Shedeur might even win it in preseason because I know he didn't look good in preseason. But we'll see who gets to start. But I actually am rooting for Shedeur because especially watching the 2025 draft, because I really think he does deserve a chance. I am really interested to see how he would start for a whole season. I know a lot of people are saying the only reason why he got all the glazes is because Deion Sanders was the head coach, which is his dad. So yeah, hopefully he could get a shot at a full season if Shedeur Sanders does win the QB competition. But I just threw both in because it's very close with who's starting for the Browns this season. So for my number 2, I got Jacoby Brissett. Now, Jacoby Brissett actually has been a pretty solid backup QB. His stats actually didn't even look bad at all last year. Over 3,300 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, 8 picks, 64.9 completion percentage. However, he did average 6.9 yards per attempt, but his stats didn't even look that bad. And I know a lot of that is coming from garbage time stats too. But Jacoby Brissett actually has been a really solid backup QB. The Cardinals' offense, even though they were just terrible last year as a team in general, they actually looked a lot better with Jacoby Brissett at QB than they did with Kyler Murray at QB. But this year, I just don't see them doing good. I just don't see Jacoby Brissett doing good. I know he has played full seasons in the past, like with the Colts, and he had played at least a good amount of games with the Browns back in 2022, like during Deshaun Watson's suspension, and he looked okay. I just don't think he's going to do well with the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals being one of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm sure everybody does, but I just think he should be ranked this high for the worst starting QBs because I don't see him doing anything this year. He might get benched for Carson Beck this season. So finally, for the worst starting QB in the NFL, for my number 1, I got Geno Smith. Now, last year, some people thought they were going to be at least okay. He was going to be at least okay with the Raiders with Pete Carroll as his head coach and drafting T at running back and having Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. They thought maybe the Raiders could be at least a competitive team with a solid team around him. And in week 1, everyone was like, okay, they could be a solid team. They could even be a sneaky wildcard team, but instead everyone was wrong because Geno Smith was not good last year. He did have a solid completion percentage with 67.4% completion, but he averaged 6.8 yards per attempt, which is not good. Over 3,000 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 17 picks. He was just not good overall. He led the league in interceptions. He just threw a lot of picks last year. He was just terrible last year. The Raiders were just like tanking last year. And Geno Smith now with the Jets returning to his former team, I don't think he's going to do good. He does have weapons like Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, but I don't think he's going to do good with the Jets. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be on the hot seat early in the season because I think the Jets are just going to be one of the worst teams heading into the NFL. I think they're picking first. I just think Geno Smith is going to be having another bad year. I know some people said don't write off Geno because he did actually have 2 good seasons with the Seahawks. So, yeah, I think Geno Smith is the worst QB heading into the NFL 2026 NFL season. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who are your 5 worst starting QBs coming into the 2026 NFL season? And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.